Hi, I'm Lee, and we're going to have a look at your Tell Me questions. These are the questions that you will get asked as part of your driving test before it is that you go out driving, and they're all safety related. If it is that you should not answer one of these questions correctly, you'll get a minor driving fault and you'll use up one of your 15 lives. So you're permitted up to 15 minor faults. This would be one of them. Let's start. Let's have a look at all the items on the outside of the car first. So our first start is under the bonnet. Let's have a look under here and let's look for our bonnet release. Usually there's a symbol on it, nice and easy. Pop it and let's go and have a look under. The bonnet release is on best in line with the right hand side of the L, fingers down, and you'll find it usually with your index finger, and just push it to the side, lift the bonnet up. Bonnet release mechanism on most vehicles you'll find quite easily, and then the bonnet stay, pull it down and it slots into a hole, usually just on the left hand side of the car. Your examiner might ask you, open the bonnet and tell me how you check that the engine has sufficient oil. The answer is not to go and do it, but is to explain how you do it. So let's take a look at that. So here's the answer. You've got to describe what I'm about to do. Just here we have an engine dipstick that goes down to the bottom of the engine. So once the engine has cooled and all the oil has made its way to the bottom, we can check the level of the oil. So we take the dipstick and we remove it. It's covered in oil, so we want to wipe it so that we can get a true reading. And what we're looking for is to get a true reading that hopefully is going to be somewhere between this marker and this marker to say that the engine oil is at the right level. So let's put it in and find out how we deal with BESS. In it goes all the way to the bottom, all the way back out, and there's our reading. It's about perfect. It's about halfway between minimum and maximum. The next question you might get asked is, open the bonnet and tell me how you check that you have a safe level of hydraulic brake fluid. And here's our reservoir here. It's a really simple answer. On each reservoir for the brake fluid, there should be an identity on the top. This one is identified with the writing on the top, and it has a reservoir underneath with a maximum level just here, a minimum level hidden really inconveniently at the back, and you're looking for the level of the brake fluid to be between the two. Difficult to read. I'm moving it around so I can get the fluid to move, and really inconveniently it's just below this line here where the plastic is, so it's well above the minimum but below the maximum. Your final question will be to open the bonnet and tell me how you check that the engine has sufficient engine coolant. And here you can see the reservoir with the engine coolant in it. It's usually the largest reservoir, and it's got the symbol on the top pre-warning that if you take this off while the engine's hot, could potentially cause you a serious burn. On the side of the tank you've got maximum and minimum markers again, and what you're looking for is for the engine coolant to be somewhere in between the two. Time to put the bonnet down, put the bonnet stay away, clip it into place, lower the bonnet to about 30 centimeters, drop it. The bonnet isn't part of the structure of the car. It's very lightweight. If it is that you put it down and then you push it, every chance in the world of leaving a big dent in your bonnet. Your next question might be, tell me where you'd find the information for the recommended tyre pressures for this car and how tyre pressures should be checked. And just here you can see a sticker. It's located just inside the door for the driver, and you've got information here that will tell you exactly what the tyre pressures should be. Here, front, rear. And you'll notice for each of them you've got two sets of information. One for when the car is lightly loaded, here indicated by 3 stickmen, and here when you've got 4 stickmen. So for the front tyres, for a normal load, you've got readings here going down for bar and pound per square inch, we're going to pay attention to the one at the bottom, pounds per square inch, and that says 32. So front tyres should be 32 under a normal load. Your rear tyres should be 29. Now, for this particular situation, you only need to tell your examiner that you can find the information on a sticker inside the driver's door. Let's see how we go about checking them. So to check the pressure of the tyre, the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to take the caps off. And in my hand, I've got a tyre pressure gauge. Here it is. Let's just turn that on. Set at the moment to record pounds per square inch. And all we do is pop it on, get a reading, and let's see what it says. 30.4. We really need 32 in there. So we're going to take this to a local garage and we'll put a little bit more pressure in, don't forget. So your next question is regarding the condition of the tyres. And your examiner will ask you, tell me how you'd check the tyres to ensure that they have sufficient tread depth and that their general condition is safe to use on the road. The answer is for you to explain. The tyre should have no cuts or bulges around this outer wall here. And the depth of the tyres should be 1.6 millimeters, which at the moment we can't really see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn Bess on and we're just going to open the tyre up so that you can see it better. And what you're looking for is we're looking for 1.6 millimeters of tread depth across the central 3/4 of the tyre. Now to get that checked, you can take it down to a tyre centre. They'll all do it free of charge for you because they'll want to sell you some more tyres. Just here we have a square block. This square block here is designed to show you when you've got 2 millimeters of tread depth on your tyre. And all you can do is have a feel with your finger, and if it's greater than that 2 millimeters, you're safe. Alternatively, you can do what the tyre dealer will do, is they'll use one of these tread depth gauges. They'll take it and they'll place it in 3 locations: outer, central and inner, and give you 3 readings. And they'll just look at the side of it. Here we're about 3 mil to 4 mil of tread depth on this tyre. So next, let's have a look at the power steering question. So your examiner will say to you, tell me how you check that the power steering is working before starting a journey. You need to explain. If the power steering becomes heavy, the system may not be working properly. Before starting a journey, maintaining gentle pressure on the steering wheel while the engine is started should result in a slight but noticeable movement as the system begins to operate. Alternatively, turning the steering wheel just after moving off will give an immediate indication if the power steering is functioning. If I turn the car off now and try and do that, it ain't working. But you just need to explain it. Head restraint question. So tell me how you make sure that your head restraint is correctly adjusted so it provides you the best protection in the event of a crash. Here's the answer. You adjust it so that the rigid part of the head restraint is at least as high as the eye or the top of the ears, and as close to the back of the head as is comfortable. If I just relax 1 second. In the event of an accident, we want it to give the best protection it can, and it's protecting against whiplash. There it is. Next question from your examiner. Tell me how you'd know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system. Answer. Explain that a warning light should illuminate if there's a fault with the anti-lock braking system. And let's have a look. Here it is. So there's all the lights. ABS came on here. The car does a check to see if everything's working correctly and extinguishes the light. Let's do that again. Turn the car off. turn it round, all the lights come on, car runs a check, extinguishes the ones that are all working correctly. Next, we're going to have a look at the lights. And your first question that you might get asked by your examiner is, tell me how you check that the headlights and tail lights are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle. So let's keep this easy. We're going to turn the headlights on, 2 positions, side lights, dip beam, corresponding lights appear on the dashboard. We're going to get out and we're going to have a look around. It's as simple as that. Tell me how you would check that the direction indicators are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle. Again, let's keep this really easy. Let's turn an indicator on. There it is, corresponding light flashing on the dashboard, and we'd get out and we'd check them. Turn it back off again, turn the lights off. Tell me how you'd switch your headlight from dipped to main beam, and explain how you'd know the main beam is on. Here we go again. Let's turn the lights on first, side lights, dip beam, and then with Bess we push this lever forward and the blue light comes on the dashboard. So pushing it forward engages main beam, and you know it's on because there is a blue light on the dashboard. To turn it off, pull it back towards you and turn those back again. And finally, tell me how you'd switch on the rear fog lights and explain when you'd use them. You don't need to exit the vehicle. So to turn the lights on for the fog lights, again switch the lights on, and just on the inside here we have a switch for the rear fog light and the front fog light. We twist it and the corresponding light for the rear fog light comes on the dash. And it's quite simple for the answer for when you'd use it. It's when your visibility is less than 100 meters or 330 feet ahead. Finally, with the lights, your examiner may say to you, tell me how you'd check the brake lights are working on this car. Explain that you'd operate the brake pedal, making use of reflection in windows or doors, or maybe ask somebody to help. Or here's a novel idea, just set a camera up at the back of your car and take a walk around and check it. Final question, deadly serious. Tell me, before starting a journey, how you'd check that your brakes are working properly. Well, the answer is that they shouldn't feel spongy, and here we have a sponge. And when it is you press down on a sponge, it doesn't give you an awful lot of sensation back. It just collapses underneath your finger. If it is instead you pick up a Satsuma, they're in season at the minute and you should be able to get hold of one, something similar like a soft fruit. When you press it, it's still got a little bit of movement, but feels really firm underneath, and that's how it should feel underneath your foot too. Now, if it is that your brakes are feeling spongy, very dangerous. Probability is you've got air in your brake system, and your brakes use hydraulic fluid to operate, incredibly powerful. If it is that your brakes have got air in the system, compressing air in the same way as hydraulic fluid is nowhere near as effective. So it's a dangerous position and they might not work. Answer, get it to a garage as soon as you possibly can. Usually you can find a mobile mechanic and they'll come to you and they'll do what's called bleeding the brakes and make sure that you've got no air in there. Finally, you need to mention that as you pull off, check the brakes, apply the brakes. If it is that the vehicle pulls to the left or to the right, it simply means that one of the brake calipers on one side is not working correctly, and only the side that is working will be effective and the car will pull in that direction. Again, get the mobile mechanic out, get your brakes fixed. And this concludes your Tell Me questions. I hope that having seen the video, you're in a better position and ready now for your test. But most importantly, these questions are not just about passing a driving test. These are to set you up for life so that you keep your vehicle well maintained, but most importantly, keeping you and all the other road users safe while it is that you're out there driving. See you again soon.